Hi, Talician here. And yesterday they had something very important for Diablo 4. Let me show you here on our screen. They had the Diablo 4 Campfire Chat for Season 5. Now, this included information that concerns the PTR for Season 5. And I'd like to go over some of it now. June 21st, we held a Campfire Chat that went through our upcoming Season 5 public test realm, which will run for the week of June 25th through June 2nd for players with PC Battle.net account. It'll be basically the same as with Season 4. The reason they're using PC Battle.net is that it's easier for them to get it out, to move it out to people, and then to go ahead and cull the information that they need. So that way they can go ahead and get the information, and it works best for them. So they're going to be doing it through Battle.net again this time. They had a sit down with Adam Fletcher, class designer Adam Jackson, and lead designer Daniel Tanguay, who talked about some of Season 5. There'll be a link below if you want to watch the entire chat, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the PTR notes that were released, because they go into a lot more detail about some of the aspects that they went over. And there were certain things that they went over that really do need some qualification, and they need some description. There'll be a link to this also down below. The quest line is called The Eyes of the Enemy. Season 5's new story features Season 5 features a new story where enemies are cut down, alliances shift, and unlikely friends emerge from the shadows. The PTR features a new quest line that takes place after the events of the main quest line and is available for both seasonal and eternal realms. Will remain on the eternal realms once Season 5 is complete. So this might be a new act, and this might be the transitional act between the base content and Vessel of Blood, the first expansion, which I'm very interested in seeing. Head to Hawazar in World Tier 3 and investigate a disturbance among the city folk there. Completing this questline will allow you to battle the Infernal Hordes, which is the new gameplay activity that's coming with Season 5. Note that you only have to complete this once across your account. So once you can do it on your first character, it'll be open for a remainder, just like the end game itself. Now, what the Infernal Hordes are, it's basically a wave battle. And I like the idea of it. I really think it makes sense. You know, you are the lone hero, and you're going up against waves and waves of the Infernal Hordes, and there'll be rewards at the end. But the Helltides were only the beginning of the hordes lying in wait. Confront seemingly endless waves of Hell's legions in the realm of hatred, so we're going back to Hell. As the Infernal Hordes grow more powerful with each passing day. Hero Hordes is an activity where you slay hordes while earning burning aether to unlock powerful weapons and rewards. Successfully slay the hordes, and you're able to fight the powerful Fell Council. There'll be some interesting notes about that coming up. Enter the realm of hatred by using an Infernal Compass, which is a new in-game item that you'll be finding. You can be found by defeating end-game bosses, Helltides, Nightmare Dungeons, and Whispers. So there'll be multiple sources to get them. And the Hell Compass will be granted to you upon completing the quest, so you'll have a way to get started on it. Basically, this is a screenshot of what the Infernal Hordes looks like. Please note, as usual, most of these down here, this is in development content. It's not final. The views on these things may change before it is released. But this is basically an example of it. They're time-limited waves of 90 seconds each. You click Burning Aether during a wave to spend the success of the run. At the end of 90 seconds, you kill the remaining enemies and decide between 3 Infernal offers. Once you've selected, the next wave will begin. Essentially, slaying all waves in that tier will you are attempting to advance to the Well of Hatred and battle upon the Fell Council. Upon defeating the Fell Council, you spend your Burning Aethers on the Spoils of Hell. Now, the offers defeating each wave, you get a choice of 3 different boons or bane. Like, for instance, the one they show here, Hellfire rains upon you, but at the end of each wave spawns some additional Aether. And they're entitled, and you get to choose them. Some of the ones are elite damage is increased, elites grant increased burning ethers, another example. But choose wisely. Infernal offers will stack across the duration of your Infernal Hordes run, and many can be active at the same time. So, you know, the more banes, the more boons. which is kind of nice. It's kind of a push your luck type thing, and I think that's a good thing. And infernal offers are your chance to increase the difficulty in order to earn more burning aether, or select a more modest offer if the intensity is too great. So there is a way to get out of it and get some of the rewards that you've earned. You earn it by slaying ether fiends and aether lords, or by destroying soul spires and etheric masses, and it's earned individually, regardless of playing solo or in a group. This lets you decide how to spend it at the end of your run. Now, I think that's a good thing. So if you do this as a group, you're the only one getting it. So I think that's a good thing there. And then the very spoils of hell. Equipment, mats, gold, and greater equipment, which guarantees an item with a greater affix. So this is going to be another way to get certain greater affixes going forward, and that's going to be good too. A lot of my characters, for instance, are kind of stuck that they're either getting their 925 gear, or they've already got it all with affixes. So I'm trying to find the best affixes and trying to find multiple affixes. So this is a way to guarantee that you'll get an item with at least a greater affix. It's a good thing. And then here's a little screenshot of what the infernal compasses look like. These will be the items, and it looks like they'll be going into the consumables tab. But here's an example, and again, this is not final. This is in development context, so be aware the looks may change. But they look like another disposable, another consumable for like nightmare dungeons and such. So I think it's interesting. There are 8 tiers of them with scale and difficulty and world tier, and you can get them. Tier 1's available at 3, Tier 2s are available at 4, Tier 3s are available at 100, and they include bonus affixes and spoils of greater equipment. And then you'll be able to craft. Infernal compasses will only drop in tiers 1 through 3. Abyssal scrolls will be needed to increase their max level of tier 8. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that yet. Does that mean you're only going to be able to get the compasses at tiers? Well, you can get them here, and then you can go ahead and increase their max level. So I think that's kind of convoluted, that you'll need not only the infernal compasses, but the abyssal scrolls. So I'm hoping that they just go ahead and I have a feeling they'll just change it so that they'll drop, probably either inside hordes or through other means, because that sounds a little too convoluted just initially off the bat, just to me. But hey, it might work out. And now here's the point. At the very end of each infernal horde, you'll be battling the Fell Priests. If you manage to survive the infernal hordes, the Fell Council waits. Originally meant to protect us from the prime evil Mephisto during the events in Diablo 2, these noble priests were corrupted and became champions of the very demon they swore to oppose. That's right, we're battling the Council again. For those of you who have a lot of Diablo 2 or Diablo 2 Resurrected experience, the Council on your Durance of Hate runs, when you're trying to put together the key to open up the entrance to the Durance of Hate, you had to fight the Fell Council. They only brought back 5 of the members of the Fell Council, each equipped with different unique abilities, and there'll be 3 different members that you will have to fight each time. So it's a total of like about 10 different combinations of fights that you can have. And be wary of their unique abilities and the various combinations will count. That's going to be interesting. Once you inflict enough damage on the council, the priest's attacks will become frenzied, and then upon defeating the Fell Council, you can spend your burning aether on the spoils of hell. So that's the end of the Infernal Hordes encounter, is when you fight the 3 members of the Fell Council. And I with the way the story is going, I really think this is a nice touch. The studio that is in charge primarily of this expansion, they did the artwork and the graphics for the Diablo 2 Resurrected version of the Council. In fact, they did most of the graphics for the Resurrected, and they did an excellent job, I thought. So here's an example. I mean, it's not a very good example. If you go onto the video, I forget where exactly, but in the video when they cover this portion of it, they actually have full-sized screenshots of several of the members of the Fell Council, and they look really nice. Again, I recommend you watching the full video after this. They go over a lot more detail than I do. But Now, the forges in the Burning Hells burn the fiercest, leading to incredible possibilities for the weapons they produce. Season 5 introduces new legendaries, uniques, and items, and these new legendaries and uniques can be earned by slaying enemies across Sanctuary, but have the best chance of appearing when playing the Infernal Hordes. Excuse me. So they're now target farming. They're trying an example of target farm some of the newer aspects only in Infernal Hordes, and we'll see how well that works out. This will be the first time that they've tried just the targeting of legendary aspects in a specific type of encounter. So we'll see how this goes. Again, with the PTR coming up, this is your chance to go ahead and say how you think, say how you feel, let them know what you like and let them know what you don't like. Initially, I think this may be a good idea. Depends on how the play goes. You know how things are. Sometimes things are based in writing, and when you actually get to implementing them, they don't work very well. So we will see how that goes. And I highly recommend everybody log on to the PTR and let Blizzard know your thoughts. We have found over the past 4 seasons that they listen. If you have an idea, if you have a recommendation, if you see something is wrong, they will take time to listen. So please make sure to log on to here, do it different ways, start a character, jump a character to 100, play around a bit, let them know what you think of these changes, because some of these changes that I'm not going to go over, they're going to be down in the notes below, cover the entire game. These are major changes, not only quality of life, but character class changes, and they need this information. Speaking of the quality of life updates, you no longer will need to reset the dungeon to replay the same boss. Hallelujah. Upon killing them, the summoning altar reappears, allowing you to use more resources playing them again. That's nice. Summoning Varsha now will only require malignant hearts. The hands, the femurs, and the heads have been removed. Thank God for storage. And endgame bosses now drop additional gold instead of rare items. That's nice. For anybody who's played any extensively in Season 4, which is most of us, gold was one of those things that was... You had to go back and getting gold. I mean, I've had this, I've noticed the gold crunch is definitely real with some of my characters. So I think having more gold drop in the game is a good idea. And then these are they specifically changed to the Beast in Ice. It now functions as a standard dungeon. The sigils can be used to summon the beast instead of using summoning materials, which is nice. The boss fight is now much closer to entrance, and sigil dust has been removed as a material cost to summon. So that means that's going to be nice too. So that means you're only going to need the fear to get him, and that's good too. I think limiting it, they've made their points now. I think limiting it's good. Helltides and Whispers. We significantly reduced the time it takes to complete Whisper bounties. We've now made it so there are always enough Whispers to earn 10 Grim Favors within a given Helltide, and it should now take significantly less time to complete. Additionally, icons have been updated to be consistent with other Whispers. That's nice. That's good too, because sometimes I would be, I've noticed this in Season 4. I'd complete Whispers, but it would take me several Helltides to do it. If they make it so there's always enough to earn at least 10 Grim Favors to get a Whisper per Helltide, that's good too. Because that's one thing that kept my gold up, because they would give a lot of gold for those Whispers. Increasing your threat now consistently scales with the help of the slain monsters. That's good. We're adjusting the Baneful Heart drop. They're dropping too frequently to feel valuable. Chance to get one from a torture gift starts at 13, increases each time you fail to get one. Once you reward a Baneful Heart, chance resets. Hellborn is Helltide assassin starts at 1% chance to drop a heart, increases until you fail one, and now resets to 2. So they're going to go ahead and give them chances, which I think is good. And then the Cult Demons Whisper Bounty now includes Fallen, and they replaced the Fallen Whispers with Whisper Bounty with Cult Cultists, which is good. That makes sense. Loot reward. For Splendid Sparks, can be reward for defeating tormented bosses can now be earned separately on both hardcore and non-hardcore. That's good. They will no longer be automatically picked up. These items can now be found in Lost Item Stash if you forgot when they drop. That's okay. I like the pet. I like the fact that it picks up a lot of things. This one we'll have to wait and see. These are the sort of things that should automatically be picked up. They shouldn't, they shouldn't be left on the ground, even though they will go to your lost item stash. So this one I'm not too sure about. Unique and mythic uniques and acquired through whisper caches, the purveyor curiosities are for obols, and the torture gifts and Helptide, and the chance to find mythic uniques through all non-boss locations we believe. I'll be going over mythic uniques down below a little later on, but basically they are going ahead and doing something really nice with mythics. You're going to be able to tell them apart, and that's a good thing. I'll go over that part down ahead. Treasure goblins. The loot quality for treasure goblins has been improved. They can now drop 1 to 3 legendary items and 2 to 6 rare. The higher the number of legendary drops, the lower number of rare drops. That's good. And they also drop 1 or 2 elixirs, and are guaranteed to occasionally drop common ore, herbs, leather, and gem fragments. That's good too, because there were times I would want to go back through, and I would run out of some of those. And they show you example of gold drops. Level 1, 40,000 gold. Level 100, 150,000 gold. That's nice. And 3 and 4, they've also dropped Forgotten Souls. In addition, they have a chance to drop Scattered Prisms in World's Tier by respectively 10 and 20 and 30%. So that's nice. Another reliable source of getting prisms. I really think they fixed the prism problem. I don't think it's going to be an issue in Season 5. Once they made the change they introduced in the previous patch, I've started to really ramp up holding prisms. So I really think this will be the last nail in that coffin. I don't think that'll be an issue anymore. They're also allowing more classes to use their type weapons. Sorcerers, for instance, will now be able to use one-handed swords and maces. And here's a very interesting screenshot here. Let me go ahead and let me make my image a little smaller here, because I want to go over this really quick. Here, I'll just get rid of myself real quick. It'll be easier. There we go. But if you look at this, they're changing the type of weapons and what benefits you get from it. For instance, if you're using an axe, you're going to primarily get dot damage. Using a mace, you're going to primarily get overpower damage. Using a sword, you're going to primarily get crit damage, and so forth. And every weapon has its own property. So, for instance, all the vulnerable damage will come from wands, crossbows, and polearms. All the dot damage will come from axes and staves. All the crit damage will come from swords and bows, and so forth. And then opening up other classes to what can use them, like, for instance, I mentioned sorcerers. I think that's a good thing. That's going to help out a lot with trying to plan accordingly what you're looking for. Like, for instance, right now my Necro is using a dagger, and my sorcerer are both using daggers, because that's what worked out best for their skills. So, but this will allow you to kind of figure things out a little bit more. So if you're looking for more, for instance, close damage, you're going to want dagger. So there may be a few things that I change daggers on, or to try to use daggers with, because that's the only thing it's going to give a close damage bonus, is the dagger. So it might make some interesting changes in some of the characters. We'll have to wait and see how well that works out in World Tier 5. Future accessibility items. Now, I did a video a little while ago. Hell welcomes all. Briefly, in the video, they talk about how they partnered with a Discord full of differently abled people, handicapped people, because they play games too, and they enjoy Diablo. In fact, that video covered one of the first sightless people to actually defeat the Echo of Lilith. So I highly recommend you watch that video. I'll hopefully have a link to it above on a card. If not, there'll be one down below. And they keep going back to them to go ahead and get ideas for accessibility features and quality of life features. And some of those features I use myself. So I think this is a great thing. In the Season 5 PTR, we now have 3 large quality of life and accessibility features we're looking for feedback on. These features are designed to allow players to easily navigate the world and find destinations of their quests. They are work in progress features, so every piece of feedback helps us make the adjustments prior to their official release in a later update. There's an auto pin feature they're working on, auto navigation assistance, and then a compass. This looks interesting. Compass features enables an on-screen HUD element that circles around the player and points toward their placed in the world pin. In combination with the auto pin, this provides consistent guidance to the player. Players can change the color of the arrow to match their particular needs and ensure it is clearly visible while slaughtering the denizens of hell. I like that. These features can be made by using your accessibility menu with the in-game settings. Now, that's one that I will probably use a lot of because I get lost a lot. And while it's nice to have the directions, I find myself looking more up at the map. There we go. Looking more at the map than I do looking at the screen. So I'm gonna hopefully this will help us a bit. I know they didn't want to go the full screen like they did in other games like Lost Epoch and Lost Ark and such. They wanted to make Diablo different, and I can understand that. I've never been a huge fan of having a map on my screen. If I'm looking at the screen, I want to see the game element. I don't want to be focusing on the map and then see the game element. It kind of throws me off. But that's me. I know a lot of the high end gamers and streamers and stuff. They're used to it. And they can deal with it. More power to them. But I think this feature might be a good compromise. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will definitely try it out. And I will try it out on stream when I'm streaming through the Seasons by PTR. Now, this is what they're offering for testing. We hub servers for PTRs in our largest regions: North America, Europe, Korea, Japan, South America, and Australia. Characters on your account will have been copied over ahead of time, although some of their items may be out of date compared to how they are currently set up in game. Once you log in through the Battle.net, your account will carry over the following account-based progress: campaign completion, mounts, skill points, fog of war, and ultra-level stat bonuses. And then they're going to tell you what they're going to give you for this time. Instantly boost a character 100. Upon boosting, you receive all new legendaries, one unique for each class, and then so forth. 2 random sets of ancestral gear out of Power 920, upgraded potions, fully unlocked glyphs, up to 10 tempering manuals, base amount of consumable materials, completed class system mechanics, and a career for new characters. The fog of war will be completely cleared. Please note some things will be missing intentionally so we can test the flows we want to watch. So that means that certain things may be available not because they want to test how they come into game. And that's good. That means that they're really trying to test things out. Lastly, how to provide feedback. Your feedback on the changes you will see and experience in the PTR is important to us and is vital to ensuring that Season 5 is the best it can be when it goes live. If you participate in the PTR, please let us know what you think. You can provide feedback through an in-game feedback activity or the Diablo 4 PTR forums. Pressing the escape key will bring up a report a bug menu where you can select the drop-down filter and select in-game feedback tool to provide feedback without leaving the game. I highly recommend everybody to use this and let the devs know this is important. This is our game. They've made it. We paid for it. We enjoy it. This is our game, and they're wanting our feedback. If you think something works, let them know. If you think something doesn't work, let them know and tell them why. Feedback is helpful, but if there's an explanation to it, if you spend the time to just type in a little extra about it as to why you think that it would improve the change, it would help the devs out make the decision better. Then there's the steps on how to install it. And then I'm not going to go over this in detail, but at the very end are the detailed patch notes. The new tempering recipes. They're adding tempering recipes to all classes. They're changing unique items. They're changing legendary aspects for all of the classes. I'm not going to go over the class-based stuff, but there is one thing that I wanted to go over. And they also got balance-based stuff, too. They're changing Bash. They're changing Flay, for instance, for Barbarians. Druids are changing Landslide and Shred, Pulverize, and so forth. But there's an aspect I want to go over real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Like I said, they're making extensive changes to the different class skills. Some of the new uniques, some of the new legendaries are changing the way some of these class skills work. For instance, they did one about a new... they're changing how Chain Lightning works. It's a new legendary for sorcerers. There we go. Tempering updates. The following tempering affixes have been moved from existing tempering recipes onto the new recipes in the utility category. Developers note we're looking to expand what affixes are available within the utility category to bring more depth and variety to tempering, and these are the changes they've made. They're going to make specific changes to endgame bosses and the Hell Tides, loot rewards. Torture gifts and Hell Tides no longer will contain obols, so they're limiting how you get obols, and they're moving them around a bit. Nightmare dungeon rotation remains the same, so we'll be seeing the same dungeons as we did last season. World bosses more resilient to damage, so that means they won't die in like 5 seconds this time. They might last 6 or 7, maybe. Experience rewards for side quests have been increased. Skills that grant immunity now only go on cooldown once the immunity effect ends. There were instances with Sorcerer, for instance, and Infinimist Necros. There were ways that they could be immune and they could just keep it on in perpetuity. And I think this is a better way. There really shouldn't be any permanent immunities in the game. Temporary immunities I can see, temporary immunities of regen I can see, but permanent immunities I think really kind of blow holes in the game. And it would make Sorcerer and Necro far too powerful a class. So I think this is a very good change. Potions can now be used with crowd control. That's also very nice too. Being able to that might help keep a few characters alive. I'm not going to name any names. More weapon types are now available in more classes. Druids can now use polearms, one-handed swords and daggers. Necros can use maces and axes. This includes the Butcher's Cleaver, which is going to be interesting. And sorcerers can now use one-handed swords and maces. This includes Aether Wrap and Doombringer. That will be interesting too. Inherent affixes on multiple weapon types have been changed, so they're cleaning up some of the affixes and making it easier to get some others. Gameplay changes for each of the different classes. Fixed nature aspect life crowd stage calculated using base life instead of maximum life. That was a little too powerful. Fixed an issue where materials for the season malignant could drop in a malignant burrow. Thank you. That one's kind of good too. But there are other fixes as well. And like I said, I didn't want to go over all the class changes because then this would be a 3-hour long video. But that's briefly what's coming up with Season 5. My initial thoughts on just looking over the PTR and watching the Dove chat, I think they're continuing the good work they started in Season 4. I like the kind of waves aspect they have with this new end event. They're keeping the other end events in there. They're keeping Hell Tides. They're keeping the rituals in them. They're keeping the Doomslayers. They're keeping a lot of the things that we've already got in the game now, and they're just adding more. So I think they're getting into the stage now that Path of Exile hit a number of leagues back, where they're starting now to get too much endgame stuff. And now they need to focus and clean up and really put forth the effort to make their endgame stuff good. And I think that's a good thing. Being able to have a good solid endgame for Diablo 4, being able to have it playable and enjoyable is going to keep people back. One of the things I've seen for Season 4 is it's had one of the highest retention rates in ARPGs in a very long time. And I can agree with that. The rotation of events. If I get burnt out on Nightmare Dungeons, I can go to Hell Tides for a little bit. Either I've already got my stuff maxed. They're fun to kill the Hell Tides. When I'm done with Hell Tides, I can go to the pit, work some masterworking stuff. So I've got different options now. So with the Hell game, the end game is not boring. It's not always Nightmare Dungeons, which kind of drives me nuts. So I really think they're starting to move forward on this. Between the Season 5 and then upcoming Season 6 PTR and Vessel of Blood PTR, which you know they're going to do since they're doing one for Season 5, I am really looking forward to seeing where Diablo goes. And if you're kind of on the seat, if you've been kind of kicked back because you didn't like how some of the other seasons are going, this is the time to come back in and at least give it a try. If you're not sure about wanting to spend the money on the expansion, play Season 4 now while you can and play Season 5, and that gives you a good free shot to see the game, to see the changes, to see some of the storylines that are coming up and see if it's for you. That's the best recommendation that this old gamer can give you right now. Give it a try. If you're an ARPG fan, I really think Diablo 4 is starting to come on its own. I really think it's technically out of beta, and I think it's worth the play. So those are my thoughts on the Campfire Chat, the Season 5 PTR. As I mentioned before, the PTR, let me go real quick here. The PTR is going to start, it's going to be available from June 25th to July 2nd on BattleNet. And I definitely plan to be streaming a couple of times. I might probably do some bonus streams to them to try out some of the content for season 5 and let you know what you think. So please follow along on my Twitch channel, links down below. If you can't follow my Twitch channel, I try my best to upload all of my streams, at least the ones that survive, to YouTube, so you can check here for them if you want. Send your comments to me, send your comments to the dev team. Let's do our best as a group to make season 5 the best season of Diablo 4 and really put forth a good, solid foundation for the first expansion. So my name's Talesian, and I thank you very much for watching this video. Again, links are down below. Come join me for the ride. I stream 3 days a week, and I look forward to seeing you. Take care.